Shalomi homies, what is going on? How are you guys out there? Big hugs, much love. Man, it's good to hear from you guys. It's good to see you again. It's good to have you guys as we're sitting around our little table here as we are reading scriptures together as a family, as part of a tribe, as part of the people who love the laws of our Creator. Not only do we love the laws of our Creator, but man, oh man, we love His Son. We love our Messiah. What a legend when it comes to teaching us how to walk these plains, when it comes to teaching us how to walk this Torah perfectly. Not only were we given the Torah, which is a perfect set of words, but then we were given an example of the Torah in the flesh. And it is one of these things that as we understand and as we come out of these Gentile ways that a lot of us have been caught up into, coming out of our Gentile ways is an amazing thing, because in a religious system, we don't have much hope. We think that we have hope, but it's all programming. It's all words that just fall upon death. And these words will tell us things that a man in a little box can absolve you from your sins. They tell you to pray to Mary. They tell you that our Messiah is some angel. Right? They tell you that all food has been made clean. They'll tell you that the laws have been fulfilled. And in their mind, being fulfilled, which actually means to make full, doesn't mean they're abolished. It doesn't mean they're gone. And then they threw this little trickster in wording in there. His name is Shaul. And many people have taken Brother Shaul as their God. And that shocks a lot of people when I say that. But when your only excuse for not keeping the Torah are two words, that makes him your God. Now, these two words are Paul said, and all of us have heard this, right? Have we not heard the endless excuses? And the Paul said, here's something out of Galatians, here's something out of Ephesians, here's something out of some book that our homeboy brother Shaul wrote. Now, a lot of people don't get it, that you're only hearing half of the conversation piece. So we're making a God out of a man, and I would guarantee you Paul is probably rolling over in his grave right now, knowing what people are doing in his name. And the entire Christian religion has Paul as their God. Now, that infuriates people. And before you just click right off of this reading, please understand what I'm saying are things that people have said to me over the years. And the thing about our brother Shaul is he was simply writing a response to a letter that was written to him with an assembly that was struggling, that was having some sort of problems. Whether or not the outsiders from the villages were going and asking them why they weren't barbecuing their kids up anymore. And he says, don't let people judge you on the food you eat or the day you worship, right? He's not going against the laws of our Creator. And when you can take that veil of deception off of your head and you can go back to the first of the book, which is very, very important. If we have not read the very first of the book at least 5 times very slowly, then our concrete is mixed without sand and rock. All we have is some concrete that'll become very brittle and break off. That's why they throw rock and sand inside of concrete, which will strengthen it up. Now, the Torah is that rock and that sand. And when we build our house upon the rock and not the sand, but a combo of everything, including the cement, then our foundations are strong. We live in a very tremendous world of wolves. We live in a tremendous world of destruction. Now, I went on the offense against the Truth Edited fella, and I've done it before, and I've done it to a lot of different channels. I am the guy that doesn't like deception. I do not like when those who don't know better get tricked. And we live in this vicious, vile world where not only is every evil thing feeding off of everything good, but then we have these Torah-based communities and people are feeding off all those who are simply seeking the truth. And it doesn't matter if you have 1 million subs or 200 subs, or it doesn't matter any of this. If you are trying to hurt the people of our Creator, I'm not scared to put you on Front Street. I'm absolutely not scared at all. And there was a lot of trolls that came and were defending their brother Ron. And when you go to Truth Unedited's website and it talks about his donations, he very clearly says that thank you for the donations that bless me. And if you want me to continue opening eyes, then keep the donations flowing. I found that very truthful, but I found that also very repulsive. And this is one of the main reasons you will not find a donation of any kind here anywhere. There's nothing that you guys can do. We don't have anything public or any way that people can fund my family and I. This is not an endeavor that we're using to gain funds. People came on from Ron's Troll Club and were like, oh, you're just trying to get subs. You're just trying to take a good man and beat him down. No, I'm trying to expose evil. I'm trying to show others that we don't need to be weak and we don't need to be beta males and we need to stand up for the truth. And it doesn't matter how many trolls come and tell me how much of a piece of crap I am and that I'm just really going against the kingdom. Guys, we don't need to be swindling Torah keepers for cash. We don't need to be hurting people and having unhonest weights and measurements. Do we think that we're some sort of Levites back in the day that deserve some sort of oxen or flour or oil or new grains of any kind? Is this who we are? Have we been given the word of our Creator so that we can sell it and make a living off of it? Or are we supposed to be building the kingdom and not building our financial checkbook? And that's where Brother Ron fell into the ditch. Because a couple of years ago, he took payments from the Hallelujah Scriptures. He was on the payroll. He got busted. The receipts are all out there. He knew about this. We called him out on it, and he didn't care. He and I went toe-to-toe for a very long time. He just doesn't care. He's like, it doesn't matter. It absolutely matters. When you're being funded by a group of people whose job is to grift the Torah keepers of the world, and that's who you're hooking your star to their wagon. Guys, we have scriptures and scriptures and scriptures. We are told to expose evil. We are told not to hang out with the rags of the unrighteous. When something doesn't look right, smell right, taste right, we get away from it. That's what being found and bound in the Torah means. And we can't go against it. If we are funding our own lives based upon us selling the word of our Creator to get this money for donations, it's wrong. Every single bit of it is wrong. And guys, as the kingdom people, as people who are trying to humble our hearts, circumcise our hearts, act like representatives of the kingdom, we have to do that, right? We can't go to the left. We can't go to the right. We have to stay to the straight and narrow. We know about the little gate that a lot of people make it through, but we also hear that there's a wide path to destruction. Over and over and over, the scriptures very clearly tells us those who are saved are the Torah keepers, the people who keep the faith of our Messiah. And so as we start getting into this book of 2nd Esdras again, today's chapter is it's a big one. It is a big one. I don't know if we'll be going over the whole thing today. I don't want to lose most everybody out there, but we're going to read this. And as we are reading this, we have Ezra the righteous. We have Ezra the righteous, who is he's a legend. He's left a legacy of examples of things that are amazing. Fasting is one of them. When we are fasting, when we are looking for the truth. And, this whole thing with Ron, there's people on this channel that come up here and go, "Oh, Jason, you're losing it. I used to like your channel, but now you're just losing it." No, I'm not losing anything. And I don't care if you stick around. I don't care if I have 5 subs. I don't care if I have 50,000 subs. It does not matter to me. If you don't see eye to eye with what I am saying here, and it's not something that's agreeable to you, there's an unsubscribe button. Click that. Click that. Much love to you. Many barukas. I hope you are good, and I hope you've made the right decision. But it's not guys like me who are going to lead you into the kingdom. It is yourselves that, as we come out of this pagan culture that we live into, you all have to make the decisions in your life that make you separated. There's the wheats and there's the tares, right? You have either good grain or you have the straw. And the straw, we know, is burned in the rubble. And so as we are going forth and going forward, guys, let's humble ourselves. Let's humble our heart. Let's not be weak. Let's not be scared to expose evil. There's no reason to. When we see evil in the way and in the path, we should be exposing it. That's what we are called to do. And I realize that a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people don't like confrontation. I'm not out here to make friends. I'm not out here as a popularity contest. If this was a popularity contest, this message would be a lot different than what it is. But as you guys know, the ones who've listened, the faithful friends out there that are hanging out, there's not a lot of you, but there's enough that you guys all matter to me. And I appreciate you all. I appreciate those who were defending me against Troll Ron and his people. Those that have eyes to see and ears to hear know what I'm saying is absolutely true, because I've brought all the receipts. And sometimes we are told to research a matter. Before you come on this channel and you're fanboy Ron and you're a fanboy to Ron stuff and to the Hallelujah Scriptures, which is a criminal enterprise, do your research. Because you can sit here and write pages and pages against me, and I will just go, okay, have a good day. No, it's no sweat off of my back. Yah made certain people to do certain things, and obviously there is a reason why I am where I am. And I won't let evil roll. I won't let Torah keepers be manipulated and used and abused. And guys, there's something very, very odd with the Hallelujah Scriptures. To get a free scriptures from the Hallelujah Scriptures, you must provide your ID and a utility bill. I've heard this probably 100 times from people. And sometimes they get a free scripture, sometimes they don't. But why in the world would people want to be cataloging Torah keepers? What difference would this make what your utility bills are? What difference would it make what your ID is? And why would you want this in the possession of a people that got busted already for identity theft? This is what the Hallelujah Scriptures has been busted with. They stole people's IDs and have been doing very much dirt with them. That's why you have a woman named Deb Wessel and Ken Wessel that have changed their names legally to Shalom and Max. And they've had a tremendous amount of names, and there's just a lot out there. If you care, research it. Go to hallelujahscriptures.net. There's endless research that I put out there that is always opening up eyes, opening up the ways. And I've ruined enough time already by discussing this, and I'm not going back to discuss this. You guys are astute enough And, you know, if you're angry at me for exposing darkness, unsubscribe. Have a good day. Have a good life. Much love to you. I hope to see you guys all in the kingdom. And I'm sure Messiah would be happy to discuss it with all of us as a little quorum up there for those that still have issues with this presentation. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes. And this is the meat and potatoes. Before we do that, this book that we're about to read is in YahScriptures.com. Everybody keeps saying, where do I get YahScriptures.com? You get the free versions, which there's been tens of thousands of free versions that are out there. Guys, the eSword modules are out there. All the PDFs are out there. Go to YahScriptures.com. And you can also get the hardback version. And this, not the hardback version, but the version you see in front of you. It is Big Blue. Everybody nicknames it Big Blue. It's a 7-pound scriptures, guys. It is very, very heavy. It is completely bulletproof. From any low caliber guns, you're not going to get any kind of gun through this. What it has a 14.5 font. So it is for all of us with bad eyes, or those of us that want to read and read and read. So our eyes don't get all tired and blurry and all of this. And you also have the entire Apocrypha. You have 103 books that are in this. Every book of the Apocrypha that we found that was credible and that we found did not dispute with scriptures that we thought was a part of Yah's word has been put in here, and it has been restored. There's no other scriptures out there like this. This is a once in a lifetime scriptures, and it is a limited edition print. Until we are ever able to come up with the understanding that we can actually reprint this, it's a limited edition print, which means when they're gone, the Big Blue may never come back. That being said, the little itty bitty version, which is like an 8.5 font, which is like a normal scriptures, is it's running through the printing press. All crazy things are happening right now. So we should have that inside of 2 months, and there's a lot of orders for it out there. We will get that out. We have a lot of prisons that we could not get Big Blue into. We could not get Big Blue into Arkansas, and I don't know what they do with all the ones they did, but none of the prisoners ever saw them. So somewhere there's either a boxes of them, they threw them away, or they're in some library. But a lot of prisons don't like this, and I understand. It's the 7-pound scriptures. You can do a lot of damage with this. But, you know, Texas has been one of our biggest prisons where we have really, really had the opportunity. They do not turn away any of these. I've never been rejected. There's only been a couple of prisons that we have been rejected getting these into. But for those that were rejected into, we got the paperback, and we have a list of about 70 prisoners right now that are waiting for this and can't wait. So once we have the paperback, we will be able to get this to them. The next printing, if we ever do it again, will probably be a Big Blue, and then we'll probably do a small version of the Apocrypha, just like the paperback. So guys, get them while you can. Again, free of charge. You don't have to pay anything. And the bonus of actually buying these is that you guys are able to help us get these Bibles into prisons. This has been the entire ministry of Yah Scriptures, is that we are creating or attempting to create a free Bible printing press. And my apologies to all of you guys out there that want these, that are in the free world. I wish I could just give these en masse to everyone, Big Blue. We're going to have a little bit more opportunity with the little paperbacks that weigh, you know, a pound or something of the sort. And so we'll be able to help out those a little bit later that are in the free world with the paperbacks. But as far as Big Blue goes, this is 100% a prison ministry. And so we've been able to get into a lot. A lot of prisoners have Big Blue. A lot of lives have changed. Everybody that is reading these things, their lives are changed. And I've only encountered one individual that was in Florida that another brother that was in the same pod as he was into begged us to get him one. We sent him one, and the guy got it, and then he gave it back to the other brother, and then the other brother gave it away. He didn't want it. There, you know, as far as the people that have time to read, it's definitely those who are locked in chains. So this has been an amazing adventure for all of us. Now, let's get into the chapter 7 of 2nd Esdras. Now, if you have never ever read this book, I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes so you do not have to go back. This will be you can start right here with this, and we can read all of this together as a family. chapter 1 of 2nd Esdras. Yahuwah, that's who you guys know as God, right? That's his four-letter word, YHWH. That is what it is on the stones of the Ten Commandments that were actually out there. This is how our Creator signs his name. This is the same name that they've stolen out of our scriptures over 7,000 times, which is what you see right here, right? You see the beautiful name of Yahuwah in Paleo Hebrew, which is what the Yah Scriptures is all about. So Yahuwah rejects the Israelites for disobedience despite all the miracles he performs. He reminded them of the Exodus and his provision. Because they reject him, he will reject them and turn to a new people. A nation not called by his name, they shall glorify Yahuwah. Chapter 2, it's the promise of restoration and comfort to the righteous. Yahuwah tells Ezra to comfort his people as he will gather his children from the east and the west. And then he has a vision of a great multitude receiving crowns from a tall man. And this is who we've interpreted as Yahushua. And Yahushua is right here. This is the Paleo Hebrew name that, Jesus. There were no J's in Hebrew. So a Hebrew man's name wouldn't be called Jesus. That was 1611 was the first time we ever heard this, when the king, which is a Freemason, he was also a wizard as well. And there's the people that fall on the King James sword. And they're like, oh, this is the infallible word of truth. It is absolutely not. This is a corrupted version, just like every other version that is out there, which is why Yah Scriptures exists. So we see Yahushua crowning people. And then the ones that are crowned are those who stood firm and overcame in faith. Chapter 3, Ezra prays and laments the state of Yisrael. He argues, why do the wicked prosper if Yisrael is your chosen? Yahuwah reminds him of the covenant with Abram and wonders. And then Ezra wonders why Babylon has power. And then he asks why the chosen people suffer while the ungodly nations rule. Then the meat and potatoes come in. And chapter 4 is Angel Uriel is sent by Yahuwah to answer Ezra. Ezra is told human understanding is limited and many mysteries are beyond comprehension. And he compares divine knowledge to trying to weigh fire or measure the wind. And Ezra he's encouraged to trust in Yahuwah's plan and wait for the time of judgment. Chapter 5. Ezra asks about the end of times and the fate of Yisrael. And Uriel tells him, signs are going to appear. There'll be blood in the skies, chaos among the nations, and truth hidden. The righteous will be few, like a drop in a wave. And guys, here we are. We are in this world right now where, a lot of people are out there, but when you look to your left and to your right, you don't see a lot of Torah keepers, right? There's some of you guys that are in little tribes and, some of these mountain ranges and some little groups of people. And you would actually be able to look to left and right and see people that are seeking our Creator. But as far as what is the majority of the world, it's all pagans. It's all people that love Jesus, hate the laws, they eat what they want to eat, they do what they want to do, they have no moral compass, no guidelines, no laws. And so in that, continuing on with this chapter 5, is Uriel says, women will give birth to monsters and disorder will increase. And I always found that very, very fascinating as we read through this, because we've had a lot of events that have happened since 2019. And those with you, the eyes to see and ears to hear, we can't even, we're so censored even on these platforms that we can't literally tell you guys the actual truth, which is why places like 153news.net exists, 153news.net. And you can just scan through, just the stories that are on there. And again, there's a lot of unholiness, a lot of unkodesha on that site. But sometimes the truth is very dirty. Sometimes it's very, very grimy. And not everything is what it appears. And so we need to understand that there could very well be a time in the future where women do give birth to monsters. And it could be something as in the days of Noah, right? Because we're past the days of Noah in this book of Esdras. And in the days of Noah, we know that the watchers and the women mated, and the very first offspring were the Nephilim. You have the Nephilim, and the Eliud. 3 different groups of monsters that one was bigger than the next was bigger than the next. You had all this inbreeding between these monstrous things, and by the time you made it to the end, the people look like grasshoppers in the eyes of these monsters. And these are things that, when Messiah comes back, it's going to be as in the days of Noah. And we don't know exactly what the full agenda of the old times of 2019, 2020, 2021. We don't know exactly what the agenda is. We don't know yet. It could be a couple generations after this before something kicks into gear. And so I will leave it at that. But these are things that we need to look forward to, not in a positive understanding, but as a people who are looking for signs of the end. And the best way to ever be ready for the end is to be a Torah obedient, Messiah loving group of people, right? That's what we need to do to be ready for these end times. Now, the final thing is on chapter 5 is the elect will be preserved, but judgment is coming, right? So we have to understand that judgment is going to be here. We don't know when it is. That's the power of the mystery of when Messiah returned. Even Messiah says he does not know. He doesn't know. Nobody but the Father knows. Now, chapter 6, the last chapter before we get into 7. Yahuwah declares that the world was created for Yisrael. Guys, Yisrael is us, is you, it's me. It's not for a lineage. It's not for some bloodline. It is not for anything other than when the people of the world come into covenant. And it doesn't matter if you're witches, Wiccans, sorcerers, pagans, Catholics, Christians. When you come into Torah, you are no longer a Gentile. Because Gentiles have no laws of our Creator, and that takes you out of covenant. And so when people are looking for a title, some sort of a what do we call ourselves? Well, we call ourselves Hebrews. We call ourselves Yisrael. And this is who, when the end times is going to be, it's, we have to link into a tribe. We have to be part of a tribe. And it's not a black thing. It's not a white thing. It's not a brown thing. It's not a color thing. It's a circumcision of the heart thing. It is an obedience thing. It doesn't matter where you have come from, what you have done, what drugs you have done, what horrible evil deeds you have done. When we repent, when we pray, when we stop our evil ways, this is when we are in covenant. But we can't just say, all laws are nailed to the cross and pray to Jesus, and Jesus is going to save us, because that's not even how we pray. So, the world was created for Yisrael, but because of disobedience, wrath has come. The angel explains before anything was made, Yahuwah had it in mind. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of the next. Crazy stuff, right? We want to be of the house of Yisrael. Creation is ordered, and everything has its time. Ezra is told again, the end is near, but full understanding is not his yet. Now, let us get into this beautiful reading of Ezra. Let's see how far we can go. Let's see how long I've done it. I've already done it almost 30 minutes. I am so sorry. Maybe I'll put this at the top that you guys can skip to about 30 minutes and begin this. What you're looking at here, right here, is the free, no cost, right? This is on the Play Store. Just type in Yah Scriptures. Totally free of charge. You can get this on YahScriptures.com. It's all free of charge. People from Ron's place were like, oh, you charge for the Bible too. And they're like, we only have to donate something to Hallelujah Scriptures to get it. Yeah, you got to give them money, and you also either got to give them your ID or your utility bill. Either or. But at the same time, if you order one from them, it's the same process. You're still putting yourself into their catalog of people who are probably looking for the truth. Why they need this information, I do not know. But here we are. This is the free version. So here we are. Ezra 7. And when I had finished speaking these words. Now, Ezra, before I get into this, guys, sorry, going back. Ezra has just done a 21-day fast. This homeboy is hungry. He's very, very, very hungry. Definitely. I can tell you from fasting is, it builds character. It shows you how tough you are, and you definitely need the Ruach HaKodesh for a good long fast. And that's what it will do, is it will give you strength, and it will give you spiritual nourishment as your body feels like you're starving, but you're not, right? You're really not. It's just that when we stop eating, our insides change up a lot. And so when you start eating it again, it definitely changes up again. So here we are, Ezra. And when I had finished speaking these words, the messenger who had been sent to me the nights before was sent to me. This is Uriel. And he said to me, "Rise, Ezra, and hear the words that I have come to tell you." And I said, "Speak on, my master." Then he said to me, "The sea is put in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. But if it were that the entrance were narrow and like a river, who then could go into the sea to look upon it and navigate it? If he did not go through the narrow, how could he come into the wide?" Uriel's always giving things in ways that if we were very wise, we could figure it out. But a lot of us, me included, you have to sit here and you read this stuff, and you have to wonder what he's talking about. But the example is, we know of the ocean as it's a giant thing, right? You have beach after beach after beach. It's wide open. It's just you go out there. But if it was narrow, who could go in there, right? Who would go into that narrow thing to go out into that full wide ocean? There's also another example. A city is built and put on a broad field and is filled with all good. Its entrance is narrow and is put in a dangerous place to fall. So there is a fire on the right hand and a deep moat on the left, and only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so narrow that only one man could go through at once. If this city now were given to a man as an inheritance, if he should never pass the danger placed before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? Beautiful stuff, right? This reminds me a lot of that small gate that is both the right and left are destruction. And it's one of these things that we have fire on one side and it's dangerous, and it's something that is a deep moat on the left, a fire on the right. If you fall to the left or the right, you can't get through this. How are we ever to get into the kingdom? Our lives are 100% a test. We have been given a soul, we've been given a body, we've been given the Torah to be part of this test. Will we take the Torah and will we write it on our heart, mind, and soul? Will we take the laws of our Creator and make it everything into our life? Or will we watch our movies, watch our horrible TV, listen to satanic music, do all this stuff? Are we keeping our souls, our family souls clean? There's a lot of things that we need to do as people of the Most High. So, 10. And I said, "It is so, Master." Then he said to me, "So also is Yisrael's portion. Because for their sakes I made the world. And then Adam transgressed my laws then what is now done was established. Then the entrances of this world were made narrow, full of sorrow and hardship. They are but few and evil, full of dangers, and very laborsome. For the entrances of the greater world were wide and sure, and brought forth incorruptible fruit. If then those who live do not strive to go through these distresses and futilities, they shall never receive that which is laid up for them. Now therefore, why do you worry yourself, seeing you are but a corruptible man? And why are you disturbed, for you are only mortal? Why have you not considered in your heart that which is to come, rather than that which is present?" Then I answered and said, "O Yahuwah who reigns, you have ordained in your law that the righteous shall inherit these, but that the wicked should perish. Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer distresses, but have expectancy for the expanse. Yet those who have done wickedly have suffered distresses, but shall not see the expanse." And he said to me, "There is no judge above Elohim, and none that has understanding above the Most High. For there are many who perish in this life because they despise the law of Elohim that is put before them. Okay, these are some of the reasons that these books were hidden from us, right? But you don't need the Apocrypha to realize that those who despise the law are cast away. Messiah clearly says it in Matthew 7, "Depart from me, you who are lawless." Christians seem to think that is an invitation into the kingdom, or think it's not for them, or something of the sort, when it very clearly is. Sorry, I had to take a drink of water here. For Elohim has given a strict command to those who came, what they should do to live, even as they came, and what they should observe to avoid punishment. This is the power of the laws of our Creator, right? When we keep the laws of our Creator, we're blessed. When we disregard them, curses fall upon us. Now, sometimes the curses are health. Sometimes the curses are things in our lives that don't work out as we think they should work out. Sometimes it's sorrow. Sometimes it's just great testing, right? And sometimes a lot of this is that our Creator is trying to get our attention, trying to get us back in line with Him as we fall on our hands and knees, as we look for the expectancy of the kingdom to come. So when we are trying to observe the avoidance of punishment, that's all in the law. That's in the first 5 books of Scriptures: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. That gives us the foundational guidepost for life. That's how we avoid punishment. Do we want to spend eternity in a very dark, grim place with a whole bunch of other people that have neglected and don't care anything about our Creator? I don't. I don't want to. I can envision what that is, and regardless of what the vision is, it doesn't sound good. But yet you have the Satanists that have totally hooked their star to Hasatan's wagon, and they think he's the man. They think this hell is going to be a pleasant place. Continuing on. Nevertheless, they were not obedient to him, but spoke against him and plotted in vain, and deceived themselves by their wicked deeds, and said of the Most High that he did not exist and did not know his ways. But they have despised his Torah and denied his covenants. They have not been trustworthy in his laws and have not performed his works. Guys, this is a Torah-keeping, Torah-based book. Ezra is very, very clear, and when others outside of this read things like this, it confuses them, because they're like, well, the law's dead. It's been nailed to the cross. And there's not a single place in Scriptures that exists. Whoever coined the phrase nailing the laws of our Creator to the cross probably have a little extra degrees in eternity as they burn, because it is very much blasphemy when you say that the words of our Creator are useless. Then in John, we have the Word made flesh, right? What is the Word? Well, the Word is the Torah. The Torah is what was with our Creator and His Son before creation ever was. The Son, Messiah Yahushua, Jesus Christ as they call Him, was with His Father during creation. He knew the Torah, walked the Torah, lived the Torah long before we ever had the opportunity to do so. And it is a good opportunity. There's nothing wrong with the Torah that would ever lead you astray. But as we're sitting here talking in Ezra, these are fighting words. These are fighting words for this religion stuff, right? Despise his Torah, denied his covenants. We don't have that. We're not under the law anymore, Jason. That's what they will tell you. Yeah, we're all under the law. The law is a great thing. It is a beautiful thing. It is something that you've been deceived. If you think the law is not for you, then you've been deceived. Continuing on. And therefore, Ezra, emptiness is for the empty, and fullness is for the full. See, the time shall come that these signs which I have told you shall come to pass, and the bride shall appear, and her coming forth shall be seen, which now is withheld from the earth. Okay? We all know from Scriptures who the bride is. And during the times of Ezra, we had not seen the bride. We have seen the bride. We've seen our beautiful Messiah Yahushua, who is he's everything, right? He is the leader of the pack. Remember that song? He is the leader of the Torah pack. He is the leader in his Father's name, in his Father's will, in his Father's rulings. He's going to come and he's going to rule us as the Torah says. And so the bride will appear. A lot of people get caught up in life and we just forget that every last moment of every last breath could be our last. And we need to make sure that we are ready for when this happens. 27. And whoever is delivered from the evils spoken of shall see my wonders. For my Ben Yahushua. Wow. We have him directly connected in the what people will call the old Besorah, the old Tanakh. This is the old scriptures, right? This is the days of Ezra. This is long before Messiah Yahushua, but he's mentioned right here. For my son Yahushua shall be revealed with those who are with him, and those who remain shall rejoice within 400 years. Wow. So right out of the gate, again, this is a Trinity breaking thing, right? Because if it wasn't the Son of the Most High, but it was the Most High, then our Creator is lying to us and His Son is lying to us, because they very clearly say they are not the same entity. Messiah Yahushua very clearly says he comes in the name of his Father, he comes in doing the will of his Father, but he's not the Father. After these years, Hamashiach, my Ben, shall die, and all men who have life. And the world shall be turned into the silence of old 7 days, as in the former judgment, so that no one remains. And after 7 days, the world that is not yet awake shall be raised up, and that which is corrupt shall die. And the earth shall restore those who are asleep within, and the dust in the secret places shall deliver those who dwell in silence, and those beings who were given to them. Guys, this is amazing stuff, right? We have not seen the asleep, those who have died in Torah, those who have died in the faith of our Messiah. We haven't seen them raise up. We haven't seen them come back. We haven't seen these kind of prophecies. But this is what is coming. And, you could actually say, we did see some of those who were sleeping come back to life, because in one of the accounts of the Besorah, we have, when Messiah died, we had people that the dead came back to life. And when the dead came back to life, it was probably a very strange thing. And we don't have a lot of information on that particular subject, but we do know it's documented. And we do know that those have died, have come back to life. We have prophets that have raised the dead. We have our Messiah that has raised the dead. And they're going to raise the dead again, right? When the end time comes, those who are sleeping in our Messiah, those who are sleeping will be risen up. And the Most High shall appear upon the seat of judgment, and anguish shall pass away, and patience shall come to an end. But only judgment shall remain. Truth shall stand, and belief shall grow strong. Big stuff, right? Truth shall stand. The truth is the word of our Creator. The truth is the Besorah. The truth is the Tanakh. The truth is the prophets. We have been given all of this truth. People can download this truth for free and put it on all their devices. They can become truth bearers. The bearer of truth is the Torah. It is the words of the Torah as we are living and breathing and operating under the Torah. That is the truth. That is how we will grow strong. 35. And the work shall follow, and the rewards be revealed, and the good deeds shall be firm, and wicked deeds shall not reign. The pit of torture shall appear, and opposite shall be the place of rest, and the furnace of Gehenna shall be uncovered, and the paradise of delight opposite. Okay, this is the stuff where we don't want to fall into the judgment of our Creator. Now, you have the Satanists all the time. They're like, you don't have anybody nobody's going to be tortured. It's not fire and brimstone. That's all metaphors. I don't believe it is. From everything I've read, it is a place that we don't even want to visit. It is a place that when the prophets and those who were exposed to the places, the pits of hell, they were freaked out. Enoch, he didn't like it when he saw that stuff. Ezra saw some pieces of this. Nobody liked this. It doesn't look like a place of comfort. But yet there's the opposite, and it's the place of rest. But then we have the furnace of Gehenna, and it'll be uncovered, and the paradise of delight, which is the opposite. So you have the good and the bad, and the good and the bad, and we want to be on the good side of this. Then the Most High shall say to the nations that have been raised from the dead, see, and know whom you have denied, whom you have not served, whose commands you have despised. What commands? Right? Isn't all the laws nailed to the tree? Didn't Paul say we're not under the law? Isn't this what we've been taught? Well, when we read scriptures very slowly and very accurately, it's not what's in the scriptures. What's in the scriptures is that we need to be an obedient people. We need to be trustworthy. We need to be loyal to our Creator, and we need to keep His commandments for all generations, all times. We need to teach our kids them. We need to impress them upon them. We need to put them on our gates and our doorposts. And it needs to be something that is every part of our life. We don't make a decision in this world unless we have ran it through the lens of the Torah. Are we falling into judgment by doing something that is not based in the Torah? And that's the thing about the Torah. It's not hard to learn. It's something to learn. And when people start studying it, people are like, wow, this is really easy. We heard this was chains. This is bondage. I've heard that I don't know how many thousands of times over the years. People are like, oh, Jason, you're just teaching bondage. We're free. We have the freedom. That's what Jesus came and gave us, freedom. Well, that's technically true, but depart from me, you who work lawlessness, should be an eye-opener for all of this stuff, right? It's when you see the scriptures right here, right? Whose commands you have despised. Well, what if it's just Jesus' commands, Jason? Well, our Messiah Yahushua told us that he keeps his Father's will. Constantly he tells us to read the Torah. Constantly he was keeping the appointed time. Constantly he was doing Shabbat. Constantly he was fighting those who had dogmas and traditions of men and things of this nature, right? So our Messiah was a Torah-obedient, Torah-observant man of the Most High. 38. Look on this side and that. Here is delight and rest, and there is fire and torture. So he shall speak to them on the day of judgment, a day that has no sun or moon or stars or cloud or thunder or lightning or wind or water or air or darkness or evening or morning or summer or spring or heat or winter or frost or cold or hail or rain or dew or noon or night or dawn or shining of bright light, but only the splendor of the esteem of the Most High, by which all shall see what has been appointed. It shall last as if for a week of years. Long time, long time. This is my judgment and its appointed order, and to you alone have I shown these. And I answered and said, O Yahuwah who reigns, I said then and say now, Baruch are those who are alive and guard your commandments. What? What do you mean guard your commandments? How could it be the commandments of Messiah Yahushua if it says right here, O Yahuwah who reigns, blessed are those who are alive and guard your commandments. Now, in the first 5 books of scriptures, over 58 times, the biggest, largest set of covenant, set of commands, set of precepts that we have is to guard the laws of our Creator. It was told us more times than any other commandment in scriptures by far. I will tell you that from years and years and years of research, of reading, of documenting, of putting this together. There's not a command that is bigger. Why would our Creator reiterate this to us over and over and over, as well as put it into these books right here that, blessed are those who are alive and guard your commandments? That's amazing. Guys, that is a blessing for you guys. This is a blessing for me. This is a blessing for our families that we have. Those who are guarding the commandments. That's amazing. There's no fulfillment of the law to where we don't need to keep it. There was no nailing the laws to the cross. That's satanic doctrine, guys. That is traditions of men and dogma and stuff that does not exist inside of scriptures. 46. But what of those who have prayed, whom I prayed? For who among the living have not sinned, or who is there among mortal man that has not transgressed your covenant? There's nobody, right? Not a single one of us can say that we are perfect. Salvation, by what the scriptures say, is fear and trembling. It is something that it's not a guarantee. It is not something that is like the Christian's Jesus card, the Romans road to Christ. Once saved, always saved, right? That is doctrines of demons. When people have this in their mind that they don't need to be repentant, that they don't need to be Torah observant, then you can become extremely evil. You can become people that we should not be. And this is what we should not be, right? We need to be Torah observant. That is our life. That is our test. This is what we need to, whenever, however, in our lives we have come to love the Torah, be part of the Torah. This is what it was all about. And we need to understand this. And I get these people all the time. They're like, oh, Jason, you just think you're better than everyone else. You just think that, oh, you can't sin and you got to sacrifice the animals. To the contrary, folks, I realize because of the Torah how evil of a person I am. I realize how far I fall short of the expectations of our Creator, and I beg my Creator all the time to please forgive me where I have fallen. Please humble my heart, circumcise my heart, bring me closer to your word and to the perfection of the Torah. But I'll never be perfected. I'm living in a disgusting world right now, a disgusting world of nudity, of drugs, of abuse, of endless wars, endless suffering, vileness. Every movie that comes out has to be shocking and vile, and these sex scenes and all of this evil. It's all around us, right? All of it. I went through that story the other day where my kid was essentially being groomed by this larger lady who just wanted him to go and drink and smoke weed and eat all this unclean food. And he sat there and debated her. And, it's one of these things that we fall short. And when you look at the kind of people that are coming after us and our kids, and you realize they don't have any moral compass, they don't have the Torah, they don't have a way forward, it's sad, because that's all they know. They know the filth of giving their bodies away, dressing like whores, acting like whores. It's just a filthy, filthy world. And I've said it before. The most beautiful women that are out there are those that are dressed modestly. Those who don't give away every last feature and curve that they have because they're wearing these unhealthy, unkodesh garments that lead men into sin, right? And you have all of these men and they'll sit there and clamor and hoo-ha and woo-woo. And it's sick. It is very, very sick. The beautiful women are the Proverbs 31 women, those who are modest, those who are gentle, those who are kind, those who stay away from evil, those who support their husbands, those who love our Creator. That makes a beautiful woman. I don't care what she looks like from a physical form, but we know that beauty is only skin deep. And there's the most beautiful women. And, I saw a picture of the father of the you-know-what, along with some Miss America that was skimpily cladded standing behind him. And he was all part of all of this degradation of the world in this filth. And he's just smiling like a schoolboy. He's like, oh, I'm so proud to be sitting next to this hooker. I mean, there's no other way of doing it. It's a hooker of whoreness, right? It's a terrible world we live in too, guys. We got to get out of this. Let's continue on. I'm falling to the wayside here, and wow, we are already in 54 minutes. Okay, 47. And now I see that the world to come shall bring delight to few, but torture to many. There it is again. Who's going to make the kingdom? Not a lot, right? Not a lot of people. This is why we need to have this fear and trembling and loving our Elohim, loving his ways, reading scriptures every day. It needs to be everything in our life. It's not just a Shabbat thing. It's just not once a week thing. It's an everyday thing. This is why I'm so thankful for all of you guys who are out there that listen in on these, that make comments, that we talk about this stuff. Guys, you guys are my family. You guys, literally, anybody that is out there that is true Torah keepers, you guys are my family. And I love you guys. I love you with everything. Continuing on. Okay, most people won't make it. For an evil heart has grown up within us, which has separated us from Elohim, and has brought us into corruption and the ways of death, and has shown us the paths of destruction, and removed us far from life, from Kai. And not only for a few, but for almost all who have been created. Okay, again, most people don't make the kingdom. Why? Look around you. It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take much of a historian. It doesn't take much of a document. You could simply turn the satanic television programming on for 2 or 3 seconds, and you can watch this madness. You can watch what's all going on in the world, the comedy that people laugh at, the jokes that people say. And, you know, my family and I, we're a bunch of boys, right? We're literally the boys club. There's 4 boys, one woman, and we're always talking about, guys, we got to be better than this. We can't, you know, a joke isn't just a joke. It's something that's being recorded on the sheets of the Shamayim. It's being recorded on the biggest DVR of all things that are recording everything that we do and that we say. And one day we're going to be very, very embarrassed as we're standing naked before our Creator, as we're begging for the kingdom to come, as they're replaying over all the times we go to the gym. And I'm not talking the gym. I'm talking about that little light that you flip when you decide to become evil. And it goes for women too. When you get a group of women together, they can become extremely filthy individuals. And this is where we have a calling that we should be separated from this. We need to do better. When we realize that we're laughing at the wrong kinds of things, when we are involved in the wrong kinds of things, that we need to get ourselves back into the Torah way. Very clearly, this scriptures alone say that most don't make it. 49. Let me grab a drink of water real quick here. Thank you. 49. And he answered me and said, listen to me, Ezra, and I will teach you, and shall admonish you once more. For this reason, the Most High has not made one world, but 2. Because, hold on, guys. Sorry, it's probably somebody from prison. All right, sorry, brothers and sisters. That was the effect. I don't know if you can see the time up that. That was at least 30 minutes. That's the effect of the Yah Scriptures, right? That was a brother from Arizona State Penitentiary, and they just called to see what's up and to get information. And you know, it's Yah Scriptures is an amazing thing. Now, let's get back into this thing. Let's see. 50, I think, was the last verse that we did. 51, if we're repeating it, my apologies to you. Continuing on, this is from the mouth of Yahuwah through the mouth of Uriel to Ezra. Because you have said that the righteous are few, while the wicked are many, hear the explanation for this. If you have only a few precious stones, would you add lead and clay to them? And I said, Adonai, how could this be? And he said to me, not only this, but ask the earth, and it shall tell you. Submit to it, and it shall declare to you. And say to it, you produce gold and silver and copper, and also iron and lead and clay. But silver is more plentiful than gold, and copper than silver, and iron than copper, and lead than iron, and clay than lead. So judge which is more precious and desirable, that which is plentiful or that which is rare. Now, guys, this is the gold, right? Do you want to be gold in the eyes of our Creator? Does your soul validate gold? Are you silver? Are you clay? Are you lead? But look at how this can be. How can there be billions of people in our generation right now, like 10, 11 billion people on this earth, but yet it's all lead, it's all clay, it's all dross, it's all things that are not shiny in the eyes of our Creator? And this answers the question of how can there be so many people, but yet so few that are chosen? And most of the people that are silver, and most of the people that are copper and iron and things like this, these are people that are Torahless. These are people that don't care about the laws, statutes, and commandments of our Creator. They're people that are many, 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 many. And it is very much gold that is very, very rare compared to the rest of the minerals and the rest of the rocks that are out there. 58. And I said, "O Yahuwah, who reigns, what is plentiful is of less value, for what is rare is more precious." We're over an hour. We're going to town on this one. For those of you who are this far into it and ever finish this, man, double hugs to you guys. Double hugs. Here we are. 59. So yes, what is more, right? On the end of 58, what is rare is more precious. And who's more rare than Torah keepers, right? Who's more rare than those that are absolutely obedient and love our Creator, love His ways, love His Son, love the kingdom path, love the road? It's very, very rare. All of these religions that lead us astray to the depths of destruction, that's the lead, that's the copper, that's the clay. Those are the dogmas and traditions of men that have overtaken the laws of our Creator. 59. And he answered me and said, "Consider within yourself what you have thought. For the one who has what is hard to obtain rejoices more than the one who has what is plentiful." Now, the one who has things that are plentiful is Hasatan, the devil himself, Lucifer, the one, the only, the rebel child of the hell, right? He has everybody, right? It doesn't take much to look at the destruction and depravity of the world. So everybody's in on this. 60. So also shall be the judgment that I have promised, for I shall rejoice over the few who are saved, because it is they who have made my esteem prevail, and through them my name has been esteemed. Guys, who's out there cheering, championing for the name of our Creator, for His ways, for his will, right? You don't have a lot of people that are out there. We don't find the cheerleaders of the kingdom that are out there. It's very, very, very rare compared to the 11 billion people or whatever it is on these lands. 61. I shall not grieve over the great number of those who perish, for they are like mist and are similar to a flame and smoke. They are lit on fire and burn with heat and are extinguished. Huge stuff, right? Huge thing. You know, our Creator wants everybody, but He wants everybody who's willing to be obedient. Is it this hard that we walk this fine line, that we walk this narrow path, that we don't turn to the left and to the right? Our Creator is not going to cry. My poor dear mom is set in her Christian ways. She's at the end of her life. Her health isn't that great. My stepdad follows in her ways of this so-called religion. Everybody's saved. She's like, oh, everybody's going to Jesus. It's just a scam. It is the biggest scam ever. And as much as when my mom dies, I'm going to be crushed because I have worked so hard to try to get her to see the kingdom and to see the way of our Creator, she bluntly tells me she doesn't want to hear about it. She wants to hear about anything other than what I believe, and it's based upon scriptures. And even though this woman reads her Bible every single morning and has since I was a child, she never could figure this out. She reads a chapter a day, and she goes through the Bible. I think in 3 years she goes through the Bible one time. She just keeps rolling through it all the way to the end. But yet she can't figure this out. 62. And I replied and said, O earth, what have you brought forth? If the mind is made out of dust like the other creations, for it would have been better if the dust itself had not been brought forth, so that the mind might not have been made from it. But now the mind grows with us, and therefore we are tortured because we perish and we know it. Let mankind lament, and let the beasts of the field be glad. Let all who have been born lament, but let the cattle and flocks rejoice. It is much better for them than us, For they do not look to a judgment, and they do not know of any torture or deliverance promised to them after death. What does it profit us if our life is preserved, but we are cruelly tortured? For all who are born are entangled in wickedness, and are full of sins and burdened with transgressions. And if we are not to come into judgment after death, perhaps it would have been better for us. And he answered me and said, when the Most High made the world and Adam and all who have come from him, he first prepared judgment and that which pertains to the judgment. But now know from your own words, for you have said that the mind grows with us. For this reason, therefore, those who live on earth shall be tortured. For though they had knowledge, they committed wickedness. And although they received the commandments, they did not guard them. And though they obtained the law, they dealt untrustworthy with it, what they had received. Big stuff, guys. This is just an incredible chapter. This is just an incredible read. What do we say about 72, right? All of these people, my mom, even though she has knowledge, she's committed wickedness. Why does she commit wickedness? Well, she eats unclean food. She doesn't keep the Sabbath day. She doesn't keep the appointed time. She doesn't even know the laws of our Creator. Doesn't care to know the laws of the Creator. And everybody has had a chance to receive the commandments, right? Everybody has seen a scriptures. The scriptures have been preserved, even though the translators are wicked and have changed many, many things that are untrustworthy. We've had them, everybody. All this generation, the generations before, there's not a lot of generations that haven't had some sort of access to the ability to have somebody read it to them or to get pages and fragments of it to look through these. And even though we have heard it, I've told my mom over and over and over. I've told all of you guys out there over and over, we gotta keep these commandments. They did not guard them, right? It's nailed to the cross. It doesn't matter to us anymore. Don't worry about it. It's just gone. Like some moldy, old, dusty, broken thing. Let's throw it in the trash. And they obtained the law. They weren't loyal to the law. They were untrustworthy with what they had received. My mom has seen it. I've sent it to it. You guys see this channel is 100% about Torah. That's why we're called Yahuwah in the Torah, right? It upsets people when you hear this path forward. 73, what then shall they have to say in the judgment? Or how shall they answer in the last days? Again, this is a picture of the end days. This is a picture of standing before our Creator naked. As we have our life replayed, as we have the abominations of our desecration that are amongst us, that we have not kept the laws, that we have not kept the statutes or commandments, right? How long the Most High has been patient with the inhabitants of the world, and not for their sakes, but because of the days that he has ordained. And I answered and said, if I have found favor in your eyes, O Yahuwah, show this also to your servant, whether after death, as soon as every one of us breathes their last, we shall be kept in rest until those days come when you shall renew the creation, or whether we shall be tortured immediately. Wow. These are tough stuff, right? We all want to know the answers for this. What happens? What happens when we breathe this last breath? Do we sleep with Jesus, as the Christians say? Are we separated? Or do we go to Sheol? What do we do? Well, thanks to our brother Ezra, we're about to find out. And he answered me and said, I shall show this also, but do not include yourself with those who have mocked, or number yourself among those who are tortured. For you have a treasure of works stored up with the Most High, but it shall not be shown to you till the last days. And concerning death, the teaching is, when the decisive decree goes forth from the Most High that one shall die, as the spirit leaves the body to return to him again who gave it, first of all, it adores the esteem of the Most High. Okay, huge stuff, right? We're starting to see some massive meat and potatoes with this, right? A decisive decree goes forth from the Most High. That is our last breath. When does our heart stop? When are we going to perish? When is the sickness going to overtake us? When is this? Well, it's the decree at the Most High. He gave us life, and he's also going to hit the programming that we go into death, that we go to the next thing, right? The spirit leaves the body to return to him again who gave it. First of all, we adore the esteem of the Most High. Now, for everybody who's a Satanist, everybody who's a Christian, everybody who's walking in the wrong path that doesn't have Torah, you're going to all of a sudden see that your Creator lives and his will is what it's about. It is one of those who has mocked and has not guarded the way of the Most High, who has despised his law and hated those who revere Elohim. Such spirits do not enter into dwellings, but shall immediately wander in torture, forever in grief and sorrow in 7 ways. The first way, because they have mocked the law of the Most High. The second way, because they cannot make a good repentance so that they now may live. It's game over, right? So right out of the gate, those who have mocked the laws, statutes, and commandments, oh, Jason, these laws don't matter. It's nailed to the cross, Paul said, right? All of these blasphemous things. Listen, this is terrible for those who die in iniquity, for those who are evil, that die without their Elohim's blessings, right? Number one, when they mocked, this is how they sinned. 2, because they cannot make a good repentance. They're dead, right? They're dead. They can no longer make a repentance. The third way, they shall see the reward laid up for those who have trusted the covenants of the Most High. The fourth way, they shall consider the torture laid up for themselves in the last days. The fifth way, they shall see how the dwellings of the others are guarded by messengers in deep rest. Okay, there's something to be said. Deep rest, those who are being guarded by messengers, right? Can no longer be hurt. No crying, no despair, no having to live this evil world, right? Deep sleep. Sounds pretty good, right? Nice sleep. The sixth way, they shall see how some of them pass over into torture. The seventh way, which is greater than all the ways that they have been spoken, because they shall utterly waste away in confusion and be consumed with shame, and shall wither with fear at seeing the esteem of the Most High, in whose presence they sinned while they were alive, in whose presence they are to be judged in the last days. And this is the order for those who have guarded the ways of the Most High. Then, when they are separated from their mortal body. Okay. What separates those from all of the ones before? Guarded the ways of the Most High. Do you love the Torah? Do you love his ways? Do you write it on your hearts, minds, and souls? Is it with you when you wake up? Is it with you when you go to sleep? Are you praying to our Creator and praying for repentance, that we are accepted into this eternity, the good part of eternity, right? I don't want the first 8 things. That sounds a terrible thing to be having. Guys, there is no sleeping. When you die and you are an evil person, there is no sleeping the deep sleep. You immediately are whisked away to a horrible place. So this is the ways of the Most High when they are separated from our mortal bodies, hopefully us. During the time that they lived in it, they labored to serve the Most High and withstood danger every hour so they might guard the law of the lawgiver perfectly. What? The laws aren't on the cross? Nope, they were never on the cross. They were never done away with. They have been verified. They have been wonderified. They are exemplarily, I didn't get that word right, and I'm not even going to try again. They are exempt to any kind of evil in this. The laws are beautiful, guys. The laws of our Creator are just amazing, immaculate. Therefore, this is the teaching concerning them. Okay? If we make the kingdom, this is what we should expect. This is, look at this, 91 verses into this, guys. Those who are still with me. Yeah, 1 hour and 13 minutes. This is going to be a record here. Firstly, they shall see with great joy the esteem of he who receives them, for they shall have rest in 7 orders. The first order, because they strove with great effort to overcome the wicked thought that was formed with them, so that it might not lead them astray from Kai unto death, from life unto death. The second order, because they see the confusion in which the beings of the unrighteous wander and the punishment that awaits them. The third, they see the witness that he who formed them bears concerning them, that throughout their life they guarded the law with which they were entrusted. Guarded the law. Here it is again. How many times do we have to hear this in this chapter? A lot. Guarding the law. Wow, this is an anti-Christian chapter. The fourth order. They know the rest that they now enjoy, being gathered into their rooms and guarded by messengers in deep rest, and the esteem waiting for them in the last days. The fifth order. They rejoice that they have now escaped what is corruptible and shall inherit what is to come. We made it. High-fiving, right? This is it. We have successfully passed this test if we make it here. And they also see the difficulty and toil from which they have been delivered, and the spacious freedom that they are to receive and enjoy in immortality. Look, we get to see all this trash and garbage and destruction, and we don't have to deal with it, guys. We're past the test. We've done it. The sixth order, when it is shown them how their face is to shine like the sun, and how they are to be made like the light of the stars, being incorruptible from then on. The seventh order, which is greater than all that has been spoken, have been spoken, for they shall rejoice with boldness, and shall be confident without confusion, and they shall be glad without fear, for they press forward to see the face of He who they served in life, and from whom they are to receive the reward when esteemed. This is the order of the beings of the righteous, which from now on is announced. And the previously spoken are the ways of the torture, that those who would not pay heed shall suffer from now on. Then I answered and said, shall there be time given to the beings after they have been separated from the bodies to see what you have described to me? And he said to me, they shall have freedom for 7 days, so that during these 7 days they may see that of which you have been told, and afterwards they shall be gathered into their dwellings. And I answered and said, if I have found favor in your eyes, show further to me your servant, whether on the day of judgment the righteous shall be able to intercede for the unrighteous, or to entreat the Most High for them. Fathers for sons, or sons for parents, brothers for brothers, relatives for their relatives, or friends for those who are most dear. Excellent question, Ezra. Excellent question, Ezra the scribe, the legend of the prophets. Can we intervene for those who we are knowing will be going to the place of torture? When it's all said and done, can we do anything for the souls of those who are lost? And we have entire religious systems like the Mormons who will take a name for the dead and go baptize themselves in one of their satanic temples. Sick. Very, very sick. 104. And he answered me and said, since you have found favor in my eyes, I will show you this also. The day of judgment is certain and displays to all the sign of truth. Just as now a father does not send his son, or a son his father, or a master his servant, or a friend his dearest friend, to be sick or sleep or eat or be healed in his place. So no one shall ever pray for another on that day, neither shall anyone lay a burden on another. For then all shall bear their own righteousness and unrighteousness. It's game over, folks. That last breath, it's over. The game is over. The gig is up. We go to a day of accounting. We go to the place of accounting, and it's either good or bad. It's either positive or really negative, because eternity is forever. Eternity. We don't see anywhere in scriptures that there's an end to any of this. It's not a 6,000 year bid, just like it is right here with all of us. Then I said, Abram prayed first for the Sodomites, and Moshe for the fathers that sinned in the wilderness, and Yehoshua after him for Yisrael in the time of Achan, and Shemuel and Dawid for the destruction, and Shalomah for those who would come to the Mikdash, and Eliyahu for those who received rain, and for the dead, that he might live, and Kizikiyahu for the people in the time of Sancherib, and many for many. Even so, now seeing corruption has grown and wickedness increased, and the righteous have prayed for the wicked, why shall it also not be so? Now, I think I read that wrong, but you guys get the point. Why shall it also not be so now? Why can we not pray for the dead? Why can we not pray for those who have expired this life? He answered me and said, this present life is not the end, where much esteem dwells. Therefore, they have prayed for the weak. But the day of judgment shall be the end of this age, and the beginning of the immortality to come, in which corruption is past. Lack of self-control is at the end. Whoring is cut off, righteousness grows, and truth springs forth. Then no man shall be able to save he who is destroyed, nor to oppress he who has overcome. Then I answered and said, this is my first and last saying, that it would have been better to not have given the earth to Adam, or else, when it was given to him, to have restrained him from sinning. For what profit is there for men here in this present time to live in heaviness, and to look for punishment after death? O you Adam, what have you done? For though it was you that sinned, you have not fallen alone, but all of us who come from you. For what does it profit us if there is promised us an immortal time, whereas we have done the works that bring death? Or that there is an everlasting expectancy promised to us, whereas we, being most wicked, are made worthless? Or that there are dwellings of healing and safety laid up for us, whereas we have lived wickedly? And that the esteem of the Most High is kept to defend those who have led a watchful life, whereas we have walked in the most wicked ways of all? And that there should be shown a paradise whose fruit endures forever, where there is safety and healing, since we shall not enter into it. For we have walked in crooked places. Or that the faces of those who have practiced self-control shall shine above the stars, whereas our faces shall be blacker than darkness. For while we lived and committed wickedness, we did not consider that we would begin to suffer for it after death. Then he answered me and said, this is the condition of the battle. That man who is born upon the earth shall fight. That if he is overcome, he shall suffer as you have said. But if he overcomes, he shall receive that which I say. For in the life of which Moshe spoke to the people while he lived, saying, choose life, that you may live. Nevertheless, they did not believe him, nor even the Neviim, prophets after him, nor myself, who has spoken to them, that there should not be such grief in their destruction, as shall be the joy over those who are persuaded to salvation. Then I answered and said, I know, Master, that the Most High is called kind, and that he has kindness upon those who have not yet come into the world, and upon those who also turn to his law, and that he is patient, and endures those who have sinned, as his creatures, and that he is generous, for he is ready to give where needed, and that he is of great kindness, for he multiplies more and more kindnesses to those who are present and are past, and also to those who are to come. For if he did not multiply his kindnesses, the world would not continue with those who inherit them. And he pardons, for if he did not do so of his goodness, and those who have committed wickedness were forgiven them, the 10,000th part of mankind would not remain living. And being judge, if he did not forgive those who are healed by his word, and blot out the great number of sins, there would likely be very few left in the innumerable crowd. There you go, folks. This is one of the longest ones I've done. What an incredible reading. What an incredible chapter that we have been given to understand the moments after death, to understand and to be given a goal for our lives right now. The goal is not to get sent to the bad part of the end. We have an opportunity right now that we can seek our Creator and seek where he's able to be found. He's not found in these religious systems. He's not found in these kirkes, churches. He is not found in any one of these things. He is found in your scriptures. He's found in your closet as you're praying. He's found everywhere around you. We are the temple. We are the temple of the Most High. We are called to separate ourselves from this world, and to be different than this world, and to taste different than this world, and to turn our lives to our Creator. This is the day. If you aren't Torah keepers, today is the day to pick up these scriptures and to read them, to write them upon your heart, to bring your family into a new kingdom, to set an example for your children. Today's that day. So with that, my brothers and sisters, much love to you. And until we meet again, shalomi, homies. I love you.